Now, some residents of Nsawam are protesting forced eviction from their homes. About 20 of them slept in the open because their properties were thrown out of their rooms. They said a developer brought armed men and forced them out of their homes this dawn, claiming their land had been bought. They blocked roads to register their displeasure.
And they are da. I'm matching a man 2 o'clock. You hear what more? Yes, Ram. Yaluesi. I'm matching a horse, Anna. The bunny. I'm banning some sorry. And this is a banning sushi. Only sushi. Yes, sorry. And that is a BB. Anna, this is I did wait on Chelsea because they were I don't see a den and John Chelsea. Oh, sorry. Opiana, and Kusu, and also BMP. If you repair a hair and coffee, Jancy, MP Fideni. And they say, Yapa Mucho, my your mansana, my MP, almost MP, say MP. I don't mail on them. It's my sister so phonesy or the Kosha, or catch my sister, she said, when no phone or the yellow bone coach. It's ye, no, my money review crana, or my good and day. We cat in the bed, cat winning in our day. Or best say, no money, auntie. Is you can add in our academy. Young funny of a beer or then move down.
It is her papa so to remove.
Never at once now, or 2 moments. We collapse.
Is it your way?
It's your Madame Banco.
Okay, that's it. I didn't see it.
I am at 2 a.m.
Bedtime,
bed 2 o'clock, no 2 o'clock. And I'm called for by you come and pay some confirm me only 2 see me soon. Say me for Jimmy phone now, Miss him. You knew the cost. Your wife was so much drilling and dining in Yaman. A Pamuya is abonting. He said, me, mammy, or that one who are born to one, mammy now on the Vapan Swift. Mammy, that one who are born to one. She say funny echo. Funny echo. I did the guitar. I didn't go for the what we said. I did what we said. I didn't know check. What we said. I didn't know almost get it to 8 months now. Now, what we said. I didn't now. What if I didn't know a friend Kofi Akwa of Kofi or no start. I don't know only Langas boys. And Langas boys now are one. Jury. Gofoniama keke ukoka na woma chuti na uda obia besi uso sisi ahumachi ba 12 o'clock before ebetie nu na yeti say womu juri ha ya na na fie o ya na na fie ni ya na no wewu na say ya na na fie ni woma juri kronum nyina yeti yesi omuma president no onti na IGP nyina mra na won be hwa de ko say court say wo be dure wo be pamo bia ye ba ha me ye wu mi wa ha no say ye ba ha 1960 na ye mu bi no ye be say aha but if you we ye wo mu no fie no wa ha
ba no be frame me o say baba munya butre o say me sole na me bie ni gate ono oko jams oba no it me bie ni gate pe na me hu pio da bi wo I want light no call off and na me bisa ni say then they see and I don't mind light off. I say, part be or light, part be ni light. And I mean who peeled down. Before I peeled down, we should do my national. Let me say, Nick and Queen, and I'm a movie. Yes, I'm a call a hornmark share at the Kude. Almost loomy. Also, the 2 Papa Shan, grad, I be see me busso. And I'm a sign with you. May I say me can one or yes, or Prami, and I'm a sign with you.
Sorry for the earlier technical hitch there. Adom TV reporter Kwame Enum joins me live with more on the story that we did from Nsawam there. Kwame, good morning. Thank you very, very much for joining us. If you can hear me, what more have you gathered on this particular story?
All right. So currently the affected or the victims are salvaging their properties or their belongings. Many of them tell us they've lost their livelihood because they were not informed about this exercise. The unknown men just pounced on them around 2 a.m. This dawn and then asked them to leave their homes. And then once you are asked to move out, then the excavator is demolishing your structures. We counted about 12 structures that have been completely demolished. And then we understand that some people are claiming ownership of the land. These people have been living there for more than 20, 30 years. And these issues have never cropped up. They've never had this before. And so many of them are not just traumatized, but they are helpless as we speak. I spoke to the Nsawam Adwajiri MC who says that they've had some names and then they're going to call them. But the KB Divisional Police Commander also told me they've had some people, including the chief of the town, and so they are going to be invited to the station for interrogation and further investigation. So as I speak currently, if the people do not have anywhere to return us, they will have problems out with us for intervention.
Kwame, your line keeps breaking. I don't know if you can reposition yourself, but they've lived there for 20 good years. Do we know who the rightful owners of these spaces are?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I was asking that once they've lived there for 20 good years, do we know who the rightful owners of the spaces they occupy are?
Yes, so they told us that they bought these lands from the chiefs and the traditional authorities.
Okay.
And so their fathers, their forefathers bought this land. You know, they've been living there with their parents who are no more, and so they bought this land from them. Some of them said they have documents to prove that they are the rightful owners of that land. But then the suspicion is that someone has bought the land and then for another purpose, and so that's why they are currently facing this kind of difficulty or challenge.
Kwame, do we know the name or names of these developers?
That is what we are yet to establish, because the commander told us that some names have been mentioned, including the chief of the community, and so they were going to invite these people. And then someone also told me there was once a court issue surrounding the whole problem. So what we are currently expecting is that we hear from the police after inviting the people who have been mentioned, and then we can have the full details of the story.
Well, you've spoken to the member of parliament for the area. What about the what about the DC of the area? Has he also been speaking?
Hello?
Kwame, can you hear me?
Hello?
Kwame, I can clearly hear you, but if you can't, then we would have to leave it here. But that was Kwame Enum of Adom FM, who joined us with some update on this particular sad development in Nsawam. We'll be following up on that, and then we'll be updating you with fresh update. Now, one of the objectives of the government's Planting for Food and Jobs is to enhance agriculture production and strengthen local industries. And that is being thwarted. Now, the local poultry industry is now hanging on ropes. Why? Because there's a short supply of soya bean and maize, which are the main component of feed for the industry. Now, though production levels for soya bean has increased since the implementation of PFJ, foreign invasion is thwarting the impact on the ground. Now, Prince Appiah, in his latest documentary, investigate these developments. Here, I accept.
Our government in 2017 introduced its flagship agriculture industrialization program, Planting for Food and Jobs, meant to enhance production.
With good farming policies and incentives, Ghana would end the disgraceful spectacle of importing foodstuffs from neighboring countries. To the millions of farmers in farming communities and villages in all parts of Ghana, I'm happy to inform you that planting for food and jobs is the basis of the answer to this twin problem with which you have been confronted in recent years.
Soya bean was one of them. Government, through the Planting for Food and Jobs, has increased the production levels of soya bean in the growing areas. But the impact on the local market cannot be seen. Here at the Abuabu market in Tamale, we meet Alhaji Abdul Karim, a soya bean aggregator and supplier for 15 years. Before now, he supplied 400 bags of soya bean every week to his buyers. But in the past few months, he struggles to get that. He had received only 2 bags from traders, though it was a market day today.
By 2 months in me, me load 100 kilos bags no by 400 bags for full calculator. And then by 2 months me load more. Yesterday is Bushago market. Bushago Juano na me 200 bags. A cargo soon be 100 and that's 150. And the same week ni na bet my loading. But and Bushago market no 2 bags na ni yen. Then the bet man ya had do 400 bucks. Na me the more company. But any forwardness no yen compare.
So we moved to Yendi to meet other aggregators of the commodity. This area of the market is where shops of soya bean traders and suppliers are located. At this time of the day, the market should be busy. But today, these shops are locked. The traders can afford to play some games because market is slow. Meet Mohammed Seidu. He has been dealing in soya bean for close to 10 years now. He opens his almost empty shop with only 10 bags of 100 kilos of soya bean that can hold 300 bags. Whilst in the market, we witnessed one of Seidu's suppliers bring him just a bowl of soya bean, which seems to have become the trend.
This woman used to sell at least 10 bags for us every week. Now she came with only 2 bowls. That is what she got in the market.
He says the foreigners, especially of Indians, have taken over the market.
At first, you could have a week, you could have loaded at least more than 500 bags or 1,000 bags a week. But now they are to get even 300 to supply to your people is difficult.
Seidu is worried the situation is impacting negatively on their businesses.
So this is April. Something that we supposed to get shortage of service, something like September going. So that maybe October the new one will start coming. So look at this thing. So from May, June, July, August, I think there will not be soybeans.
So we can process 100 tons of soya beans a day, and the refinery can do 20 tons a day. So we process 100 tons and we refine 20 tons of oil a day if we have the raw material. Since we started, for lack of raw material, the highest we've been able to do is 70 tons a day. It's not that the efficiency is not good or the capacity we cannot meet, but just that we don't have enough raw materials. Very unfortunately, our market has been open to foreigners to do anything that they want. They go to the farm gate to buy directly from the farmers. So we are actually short of supply to even run the operations. The season begins in October, and we are in March, and there's no soya bean in the system. So October again. So you can imagine how the situation is affecting us. Coupled with the fact that there's nowhere people could go and then go into the Ghanaian can't go into India and go to the farms and start buying. You have to deal with the institutions. Ghana, we have commodity exchange. Why are they not buying from the commodity exchange, like regulated market? Or maybe buy from the aggregators in the markets. But they go to the farm gate directly to buy from the farms. And if you go to the market today and the price is 100 Ghana cedis, you offer 100 Ghana cedis, the next day you go, these guys are giving them 120. So they keep pushing the price up. It's greatly affecting our business. Some of our colleagues have shut down already. And looking at the situation, I may shut down next week. We don't have anything to work with.
And currently, as I'm speaking to you, about 80% to 90% of all the processors have shut down. all of them. Because I know Ghana Nut is not working currently. It's not producing or processing soya. Vesta Oil, which I believe is not also processing. Dragon, the same. We have Quality Farm, which is also not processing, just because there's no raw material. If you tell them the price and also sit down and do their computations, there's no way they can also make a margin. So the best is to shut down.
Now, the executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa says the challenges in the agri sector show that the Ministry of Agriculture has been persistently churning inaccurate information about the success of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. He was reacting to a excerpt of JoyNews' latest Hotline documentary.
One of the ministries in this country that has been churning out very, wrong and false information has been the Ministry of Agriculture.
I mean, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has been churning a lot of false information.
Exactly. And I think that the Planting for Food and Agriculture, Planting for Food and Jobs is certainly a great initiative. Unfortunately, whatever that is good about the initiative perhaps has been taken away by the high level of propaganda and the high level of misinformation that is often churned out by that ministry in terms of our food production capacity and rates, and in terms of what is happening in our agricultural sector. I think the minister himself has consistently been putting out false information. He's always been exposed for the wrong information that is put out there, but it appears that it doesn't deter him. And that is why we are where we are. We get the false information and the false hope that we are doing well in terms of our food production capacity and how much we need in our country to feed ourselves and so on and so forth, all for the sake of political propaganda. And I think that if we don't move away from that, if we had time, I could give you figures and statements that the minister has, been putting out there, which are all false and creates a certain false hope.
Suleiman, we don't have that much time, but I would like you to touch on, if you can, briefly, because I didn't know you would go off on this tangent. I would like you to touch on one or two briefly. You can just mention which specific issues, and we can take it from there.
So, for example, if you take our soya bean production, for example, the minister on February 3rd, in a meeting with Tony Blair, put out a false information that, before 2017, when this government came to power, Ghana was producing less than 100,000 metric tons of soya bean a year, which was false. And then he went on to say that since coming into power, the soya bean production has increased to 250,000 metric tons, which again is false, because the latest information, the latest figures by his own ministry indicates that even as of 2020, where the figures were available, we were not doing up to 210,000 metric tons. And even the projection for 2021 was not even up to more than 215,000 metric tons. So you ask yourself, why would the ministers sit and say publicly that we are doing like 250,000 tons when he knows that that is not true? He talks about maize production, in another encounter. And in fact, on this occasion, he even contradicts himself in terms of what he tells Parliament and what he says during his own vettings, in terms of vetting to be a minister, in terms of the figures when it comes to our maize production. He talks about the fact that, we were doing less than 1.8 metric tons of maize production before 2017, which is false, because the World Bank figures even indicates as of 2012, we were doing as high as 1.95 metric tons. By 2010, we were doing 1.87 metric tons. And he says by 2016, we were doing less than 1.8 metric tons, which is false. Then he talks about by 2017, we had then moved to 1.8 metric tons, which was literally what the country was doing. So if a minister gives this impression that, we're doing less and now we are doing more, when in reality, what he is saying is actually what we used to do, then we create a certain false impression. All is fine. Food production is good now. Right. And then we find ourselves in the situation that we are in now, where we have had to ban maize and soya bean export also the last time I was reading. So I think it would be good if the minister and his ministry would begin to tell Ghanaians exactly what the figures are, so that Ghanaians are not deceived. Okay. That, because of Planting for Food and Jobs, we are doing this. when in reality, that is not the case.
So that's Suleiman Abrahima, who is Executive Director for the Media Foundation for West Africa. Now, let's still stay a little bit longer on this particular story because Love FM's Prince Appiah, producer of that documentary, joins me live on Zoom for more interaction. Prince, good morning to you and thanks for your time. Now, what should people expect in this particular documentary? Why should people wait or look forward to the documentary? All right, so we've lost Prince Appiah there, but when we get him, we'll go back to that particular story. Now, moving on to another story. The founder and leader of the All People's Congress, Dr. Hassan Ayariga, is expressing disgust about how Labadi Beach has been taken over by plastic waste, making it unattractive to tourists. Now, according to him, the situation is bad for the health of the people of the area, as well as patrons of the beach, and is thus calling on the tourism ministry to address it with all urgency. Dr. Hassan Ayariga himself joins us live on Zoom for some interaction on this. Doc, thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us. Now, first of all, describe for us what you saw there.
Good morning to you and good morning to your cherished viewers. As you know, yesterday was a happy Sunday. I decided to take my family to the beach, at least to also interact with people there and then swim and have fun. When I got there, I was really shocked by the situation there. The whole place was very, very, very dirty. I even find it difficult to understand people sitting in that field and eating and drinking.
Wow.
And to take around. If you look at the videos I sent, this is the situation right in front of the beach. This is not far away from where people sit. This picture you're seeing right now there is right opposite Labadi Beach Hotel, and that is where their members sit. So they put some kind of rope to stop their members from even getting to the beach. I mean, what has happened to our situation? Look at Ghana. Is this what we want for our people? And I'm saying that we need to change our attitude. This cannot be acceptable anywhere. This doesn't attract anybody. Even a lady saw me and her daughter was crying, and I asked her why. She said when they got here, the situation was bad that the son started itching. A white lady. And they have to wash the son out of the place and send him to the hospital. Wow. Can you imagine?
Wow.
This is and I think that we should change our attitude, and the beach authority should come in and do, because they're taking 20 Ghana cedis per person. And if you have all these monies, and then all you are interested is to be at the gate and take money, and you cannot clean up. You know, beaches are places where there's a lot of filth coming from, especially when it rains and all that. And you have to practically every time, every minute, be cleaning the beaches. They are very important. Our environment defines us. Let us not forget. Our environment defines who we are. So if tourists come in and go to our beaches and then they see this, then they say Ghanaians are dirty. Are you with me? And then we need to put monitoring teams every time, every minute to be around the beach. Beaches are cleaned almost every minute. Beaches are not places you just leave them and walk away. And I will also advise that we should stop using...
So Doc, what do you suggest must happen? What must be done so that we don't come back again talking about the same thing?
I think the EPA and the Ministry of Tourism must come in and make sure that they sanction all these people who are operating beaches with this kind of attitude. They have to make sure that they clean the beaches. Volunteers can also help to clean these beaches almost every day. And we have to create public awareness, that education on how we should live among ourselves and not litter the place. And then secondly, we need to put monitoring teams at the beach so that they keep on cleaning with trash bags, and then they can be cleaning and collecting all these waste so that we don't have plastic around. And I also advise, let's reduce the use of plastic at the beaches. So that if we begin to use bottle instead of plastic, they won't throw all these plastic cans around. And I also think that we should put a fine on plastic. If we put a fine on plastic, people will not throw plastic away. So that if there's 50 cents on the plastic bottle, you definitely know that when you throw your plastic bottle away, somebody will take it and go and get 50 cents.
So Doc, on that leg, would you support or would you ban the use of plastic if you are to get the North to lead this country?
I will not ban the use of plastic. I will put a fine on plastic. I will put a premium on plastic so that a cost on plastic. For instance, the bottle plastic, the plastic bottle, 50 cents. The water is 50 cents, so you pay 1 cedi. So if you buy a bottle of water for 1 cedi, 50 cents is the water, 50 cents is the plastic. So if you throw the plastic away, somebody is going to take the plastic and go and get 50 cents back. So we have to put a way of recycling the plastic by paying money for it. So plastic become valuable. You don't throw it away.
No, but Doc, as it is now, I know people collect plastic, but that is still not solving the problem. So do you think just asking people to say, collect and go and sell will be the way out?
Collecting it is different. What I want to put is that I want to put a system in place where when you are buying water, any plastic water, what it means is that you pay half for the water and half for the plastic. Okay. So anybody, this one is not collection, this one is fund. We call it return of fund. You are returning the fund in order to get 50. So when you finish it right away and you give it back to the company, the seller, you get 50 cents back.
Okay. Okay.
So this back. This one you get to pay for the plastic you use.
Okay. All right, Doc. Thank you very much. I look forward to maybe having a broader discussion on this particular. And thank you. That was Dr. Hassan Ayerga. He is the leader and founder of the All People's Congress there. Now, let's return to our earlier story about the shortage in maize and soya bean production, for which Prince Appiah has done a beautiful documentary. But he's joined us live on Zoom to tell us more. Prince, good morning, and thanks for joining us. Why should I be looking forward to this particular documentary?
Thank you very much, Bruce. If you can hear me, it is very important that we all stay tuned in for this documentary because, you know that the government has initiated a lot of industrialization initiatives like the Planting for Food and Jobs, the One District, One Village, One Dam initiative, all together to ensure that we increase our agric production and also strengthen the local industries that would feed on these productions and this demand. But the worrying thing is that after the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative started, a lot of farms have been expanded, a lot of capacity have been touched, and the production have been enormous. But the local industries, the poultry industry, the feed industry that are supposed to depend on the supply from these initiatives by government are not benefiting from it because the produce from these expanded farms are going elsewhere, to the detriment of the local demand. And so that is the reason. And we've seen the repercussions. Now, prices of eggs have gone up, prices of feed have gone up, poultry have gone up. A number of poultry farmers are losing their investment. Some have decided to sell part of their fowls so that they can stay in business. And so that is some of the reasons why we need to stay tuned in for this documentary. And another side of it is how the local processing factories are also shutting down and losing out because they don't have the supply of feed, which constitute soya bean, majority, and maize to feed their factories and process for us to all consumers. So most of them are shutting down. It means a lot of people are losing their jobs. Okay. The factories are also losing out in competing with imports into the country. And so it's very critical that we stay tuned to this documentary.
Prince, kudos for that wonderful work. We'll be looking forward to that documentary. Stay with us. We'll take a quick break. When we come, we'll bring you business.
Time now for business. I am Beverly Broom. The amount of money that you put aside for purchase of fuel for your vehicle is expected to go down marginally for the next 2 weeks. This is because oil marketing firms have started reducing prices at the pumps. There is more in the following report.
Based on data from the bulk oil distribution companies, diesel is expected to be reduced by some 26 pesos per litre, while petrol will go down to 6 pesos. This should mean that a litre of diesel from this week will be sold at 10 cedis 3 pesos if you're working with the price codes of gold on the market. Petrol, on the other hand, should be sold at 9 cedis 29 pesos. According to the bulk oil distributors, the marginal reduction can be linked to the declining price of crude prices on the international market and a fairly stable Ghana cedi. For some consumers, this may not be described as so much of a good news, looking at the margin of reduction that should be happening from this week, given the recent development on the exchange market where the cedi is stabilizing against the dollar and the Bank of Ghana's decision to guarantee the sale of dollars to aid imports. Some consumers were looking forward to a bigger reduction at the pumps. Well, for some, the assurance is that if current trends on the world market continue, the price of crude will reduce further. This then should result in further reduction of petroleum prices at the pumps this week.
Meanwhile, Joy Business is learning one of the market leaders, Total, is now selling a litre of petrol at 9 cedis 30 pesos and diesel is going for 10 cedis 45 pesos. More major oil marketing firms are expected to drop their prices.
Audited financial statement of the Bank of Ghana showed that out of the 25 billion Ghana cedis that was in circulation, 24.8 billion were in notes, while 365 million cedis were in coins. The value of 200 cedi notes in circulation was pegged at 6.5 billion cedis, followed by 100 cedi notes, which was pegged at 4.3 billion cedis. Despite the 200, 100 and 20 cedi notes going up, some, like 50 and 10 cedi notes, show a reduction in terms of the value in circulation. However, when you look at the total amount of circulation in terms of its value, it went up by almost 2 billion cedis in 1 year. But the question that many analysts are asking is that could it be one of the main drivers of inflation, which has witnessed consistent rise over the past 5 months to hit 19.4 ending March this year?
The total amount of Ghana cedis in circulation for last year witnessed significant interest over that of 2020. It went up by almost 2 billion cedis to hit 25 billion Ghana cedis. That was the story you just saw earlier on. Now, moving on, Dean of Sustainable Development at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, Professor Anthony Amwa, has reiterated the need for government to invest more in the development of micro, medium, and small enterprises. According to him, when enterprises are cushioned by lowering the cost of inputs imported for their operations, it will boost the economy.
So I think that in terms of government planning, the government must be conscious of the contribution of the micro, medium, and small enterprises. We can even add the large enterprises. What government can do is to ensure that if they are bringing raw materials from other countries, inputs from other countries, at least the cost involved in doing that business wouldn't be too high, and that borders on the exchange rate. Then again, when they bring the goods in and they produce, at least they should be able to sell at a reasonable price to make their returns. So we are also careful about the fact that the price levels will not be volatile. Once these things exist, then that will be detrimental to the growth in that sector, and it wouldn't augur well for them to also contribute much to Ghana's GDP.
That's all for business now. We have more business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business.
Now, many Muslims around the world had been hoping for a more cheerful Ramadan after the coronavirus pandemic cut off the world's 2 billion Muslims from cherished Ramadan rituals for the past 2 years. Instead, many find even the most basic items too expensive to buy this year due to the harsh economic crisis across the globe. My colleague Anas Sabet has been engaging some Muslims in the Techima municipality on how the soaring food prices is impacting their observation of Islam's holiest month. There is more in this report.
The Islamic holy month of Ramadan began about a fortnight ago. For Muslims around the world, it is a time for spiritual reflection and abstinence from food and water from sunrise to sunset. This year, the high cost of living crisis, which is being intensified by several factors globally, leading to the sharp food price hikes, is having a toll on Muslims observing this holy month. Haruna Bawa tells me the situation is affecting many, especially the needy. The prices of goods are high compared to the same period last year. We used to buy a lot and share with the needy, but this year we can't do the same because of the high cost of living. He believes that the situation is as a result of the high cost of fuel prices at the pumps. The high cost of fuel is worrying. If you take a look at the amount we spend at the pumps, when we are to convey items at a cost of 10,000 Ghana cedis, almost everything is spent on fuel. So fuel price hikes is why we are suffering today. For many in the Muslim community, it is already a tough month for them, as the poor who struggle to make ends meet finds it difficult to provide enough food for their families to break their fasts with. People already hungry will be observing their religious duty during the day, but won't have enough to replenish themselves in the evenings. Cindy Chaban says this year's Ramadan is synonymous to dry fasting.
When you fast, the most exciting thing is when you hear it's time to break your fast, because there are different kind of fruits. You are not buying it, you are getting it for free. Enjoy it, so you always get excited. But this year, it seems like we are doing dry fasting because the fruits, they are scarce. When you get them, they are expensive. So it makes the fasting somehow dull.
Haji Arabi has been selling Hausa cocoa for the past 7 years. She says the rising cost of sugar and other items has led to a 100% increment in the price of the commodity.
Sugar
is costly today, and same applies to millet. So the price of cocoa has been increased too. Now we only sell at 1 cedi instead of 50 pesos. People selling fruits are not left out of these difficulties. They claim the high cost of living has impacted their sales negatively. Everything is expensive now. Our fruits are not bought as expected. People really want to buy, but because they don't have money, they can't buy. Whilst others are optimistic that the situation will improve going forward, Man John has lost faith entirely. Things have worsened off this year, honestly. Really needy can even feel this. At first, I thought there would be improvements, but now I have lost hope. For these people we've been engaging, their sole hope is that authorities will institute measures capable of easing their hardships. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
Now, beneficiaries of Joy Easter Soup Kitchen ask for more after enjoying delicious jollof rice and chicken prepared by Joy FM presenters. Excited laborers and kayayes at the Malata market have already made additional bookings for jollof in Easter of next year. Now, about 2,000 packs were sent to them on Easter Sunday as part of Joy FM's corporate social responsibility to serve the underprivileged. They were left craving for more. Mame Esi Nyameche Thompson has more in this report.
And that is a satisfied susu box maker at the Malamata market. He had just finished consuming a pack of the Easter Soup Kitchen jollof rice. The meal made his evening.
I got some of the food. It is very delicious. You have done so well for us.
About 2,000 packs of jollof and assorted drinks, biscuits packaged by Joy FM presenters, clients and listeners put a smile on the faces of the less privileged at Malamata. After a 2-year-long break, Lexus, Sammy Folson, Kofi Hayford, Bredash, Hagler were just a few of the many presenters who eagerly made the return of the Joy FM Easter Soup Kitchen a better one.
We've been cutting a lot of carrots, cooking jollof, onions, frying chicken, everything, and it's going very well.
I've been in charge of preparing jollof, so this is just a bit of what we are doing. I am in charge of one set of it, and I think it's going well so far.
As you can see, some are cutting vegetables, others are, frying the chicken, and others are doing the stew. And so it's a concerted effort.
I've been cutting carrots, I've been doing it at home to the point that it felt like it was so easy to cut.
I had to grill the chicken and make sure that it was ready for the jollof. And of course, we had to, after everything, pick the chicken out of the stock into the basket.
No, it's going well. I mean, like you can tell, it looks very good already, and I'm sure it's going to taste fire.
Boys to men jollof. It is going very well. He's the jollof specialist. I'm the stirrer.
This is going to be the best jollof today.
But feeding 2,000 mouths wasn't an easy task. A great deal of help came from our listeners and clients.
My name is Emmanuel Nino Thompson. I'm here to help for the Easter Soup Kitchen. We are frying some chicken and we are doing some jollof rice as well.
My name is Gertrude and I'm Baden. I came to support my son.
I'm Mabel Trimsay.
Okay.
I'm coming from Afram Plains. I just want to see whether everything is real because I've been watching some of your programs and I want to witness this one.
My name is Eldman, so I'm very happy to be here, to be part of this event.
My grandson likes catering, so he's participating in it, so I have to come and help him.
All that was supervised by professional chefs who ensure the food going out met the best quality.
I'm here to help, to contribute what God has given me as a talent to make this whole program a cheerful one.
Actually, we didn't start today. We started since yesterday. Yeah, so we came here very early in the morning. We worked throughout the night and then we continued today just for the sake of the community and the people.
After several hours of cooking and packaging, it was only fair for those who did the work have a nice time. Indeed, Easter Sunday was fulfilling to help serve food to those who couldn't afford it. Mami C. Thompson for JoyNews.
Now, it was such an exciting day here at the premises of Joy FM. Come next year, it will be heavier. Now, let's still stay with food because you might have tried beef or pork or even turkey as an option for festivities like Easter. But have you ever thought about grilled crocodile meat or ox testicles as your main protein source for a dish? Well, that's the question that winners of the 2021 SMMQ from Prempeh College and their teachers were asked at the Carnival restaurant in Nairobi, Kenya, as part of their all-expense-paid Nairobi-Dubai tour organized by Adanse Travels. My colleague Manuel Kuranting was there when they finally made a choice. Here's more.
Behind us, there's the famous Carnival Grill, the biggest grill in Kenya.
That is the lead attendant at the Carnival restaurant at Langata in Nairobi, Kenya, where winners of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz are touring before they finally transit to Dubai. Before here, The team was at the giraffe center, feeding hungry giraffes at close proximity. It's been a long 5.5-hour flight from Accra, and everyone is hungry. So the attendant at the Carnival restaurant runs us through the menu.
An assortment of crocodile and ostrich meatballs and bull testicles. You sample everything, even the beef, the lamb, the chicken. It's a place to be. We carve it systematically, slowly, until you get tired. Oh, there's a flag. Yes, you throw the flag down like a sign of surrender.
The menu at this restaurant has already got everyone on this trip salivating, even though a lot of us are indecisive about what to do with the crocodile meat. Soon, the food arrives and we start eating. Meat after meat, we taste almost everything on the menu. Many of us throwing away caution to satisfy our curiosity.
I tried the ostrich, I tried the crocodile. It tastes nice. I took the pork, those ones were taking it already. The beef, all those fish were taken already. But those extra ones we don't be taking in Ghana. I try to take them. So they are nice, honestly, they are very nice.
The crocodile meat was extremely soft and tender, much to everyone's surprise. Were these reptiles hunted from ponds?
Very good. Where did you get the crocodile from? We do rear crocodiles. You rear your own crocodiles here? Not really. I see. Just from the farm.
Kenyans are generally heavy meat lovers. Some of us weren't. So in no time, we gave up. And as required, we took down our flag with a lot of testimonies about the food.
Yes. Okay, let's surrender. Who's doing the flag for us? Bring down the flag. Okay. Yes.
Look at our place. Our place is evidence of very full stomachs. So,
what was your favorite?
My favorite was the beef, grilled beef. Really spicy. The salt level was good. I loved it. I tried the balls, not so much. I need to go at it again. Crocodile, a bit hard, tough for me, but yeah. Apart from that, but the food is good. The food is good. The pork ribs, amazing.
The waiters are disappointed we gave up too soon because they had so much more meat coming up. And maybe that's why they gave us a free invite for our next visit. For now, though, we are on the next flight to Dubai. Manuel Crunting, JoyNews, Nairobi.
Now the team is already in Dubai with contestants from all three schools in the grand finale by kind courtesy of our Dance Travels, and Manuel has some answering to do when he returns. But that will be all in our bulletin for you for today. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Good morning.